Hi, Carl. What do we have today?
We have the North American B-45 Tornado. Same company that made the T6 Texan that you talked about earlier.
Is this powerful like a tornado? How does it get the name?
I guess so. This was America's first domestically designed jet bomber after World War II.
Wow.
The Air Force did buy a British design that was built by an American company, but this is the first American designed jet bomber from the late 40s.
This looks heavy. This is a heavy...
It is pretty heavy. The jet engines in those days were obviously not that powerful, so you have two here and you've got two more on the other side.
I noticed the wheels have gotten bigger.
Sure, to hold up the weight. Unlike the Vulcan next door that you just talked about, this has just two single large wheels, and they were satisfied with that.
How many bombs could this hold?
Oh, you could easily hold a couple, 3 tons of weaponry.
Wow.
Our friend Henry, who's now gone on to glory, back in the 50s was an armaments guy, a weapons guy with the Air Force stationed in England doing nuclear weapons. And I said, Henry, how did you get that thing inside? Henry said, we would tilt the front of the airplane up, rest it on its tail, and then we would have enough physical space to slide the nuclear weapon into the bomb bay and then
how interesting. That
set it all back down. I said, was that a one-way mission to Western Russia? And he said, almost. I said, well, Henry, what did you mean by that? He said, we did not have in-flight refueling.
Oh, no.
With this. So you loaded up with fuel, you went to Western Russia, delivered your weapon, turned around, and would just come as far as you could before you ran out of fuel, and you would bail out. That was the plan.
Wow.
Of course, Henry didn't have to do that. He was an armaments guy. He didn't go along. This was a crew of 4, pilot, co-pilot, navigator, radar operator, and a tail gunner. This is the oldest of the 3 B-45s left in existence, so we do not have tail guns. This was used more for testing. So we just have a tail cone, no weaponry. There was never any tail gun installed on this particular airplane. But on combat airplanes, you would have 4 people and 2 pilots, radar navigator, and the tail gunner.
So even though this is the first one, you said domesticated to the U.S. of this kind, where did this one travel?
Oh, it was all over the place. But since it was a test aircraft, I don't think it was ever deployed overseas like to southern England or wherever they were flying from England during the height of the early days of the Cold War.
But they sent similar ones out to
Oh yes, they were
like
they were deployed, out and about outside the United States.
And when was this one built?
This would have been built in the late 40s.
Okay, so this was right after. And then, do we know when we got this one at Castle?
I do not know exactly, but it was one of the earliest ones in here. In fact, way back in the day, when Bill was taking care of the Air Guard Air Park, this was my airplane for a while.
Oh, wow.
Before I stepped away for a while to get my teacher credential, this was my airplane. And our friend Henry, who I had said was the armaments guy, there's ours, one at Offutt, which is near Omaha, Nebraska, and one in Dayton at Wright-Patterson at the Maine Air Force Museum. And Henry went to go visit all 3. He was a resident of New York City.
Wow.
And so it was my pleasure to meet him one day, many years ago, when he came out, and he asked that I take his picture. And so he walked around to the side and gave it a hug, and I took a picture of him.
That is so impressive. We don't have any videos of showing them loading the bombs on, because I'd love to see that. That's a great
I don't think we
sight.
have anything available in the gift shop. So as I said, this is the oldest of the 3 survivors, and we're privileged to have it. If you're wondering about the black paint, that's to keep the sunlight from bouncing off a curved surface and interfering with your vision. So that's what that black paint, it wasn't just decoration. When I made the red circles to close off the engines, because the engines are still in there.
Wow.
Which is a little bit different. Usually engines are gone by the time they wind up here.
Exactly, that's pretty cool.
This still has all 4 of its J-35s.
How fun.
And so when I made those covers, I just thought they were regular circles and cut them all out and put it up there, and it didn't fit worth a darn. Then I realized those holes are not perfect circles in front of the engines.
Because they're real engines.
Well, the shape of the sheet metal is not a perfect circle. In the back it is, but here in the front of the engine nacelle, those are not perfect circles. So I had to measure very carefully and hand fit each one of the four, because when I just cut circles thinking it was a simple job, I found out I was wrong.
I know I love when you tell us stories like that, because people don't know what it takes to like be in a restorative museum like that, and that's an interesting take.
The canopy is not the factory one. Whoever, many years ago, hand built that canopy out of wood and fiberglass and brand new plexiglass, and created both of those canopies, because those were missing when it showed up here. So whoever that person or persons were or was, they did a lot of hard work way back in the day when this was a new arrival to the museum. So
when did these this model retire?
Oh, these things were out of service by the mid-1950s. The Boeing...
That was very short-lived.
Relatively, the Boeing B-47 was bigger, faster, could carry a lot more, and so this was relegated to the scrapyard fairly quickly. It didn't have a huge, long service life, but it was America's first domestically designed jet bomber.
That is awesome. Well, thank you so much. Remember to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Hallelujah.